Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Good Advice Podcast. This is the place where we learn how to do business better. No fluff, just the real, tangible, actionable things you can be doing to run a better business. Hey, before we dive into today's episode, we do have an ad that we're going to be playing here in a moment. And then we're going to dive into a conversation with Zsolt Gomory. He's a local business owner who's running a business called AROK Sailing School and Cruises. One of the things I love about the show is how we get the real stories from real entrepreneurs and what their journey has looked like since they started their business. We're going to dive into it. Let's listen to this quick ad and we'll be back soon. Do you ever feel like your payment processor is robbing you blind? For some of us, it's not blind. We look at the amount of money that's going to our payment processor month after month, and a lot of times we ask ourselves, is there a better way? I'm making good money, yet so much of it isn't actually ending up in my pocket. In the world of payment processing, in many cases, it's a cashless world, so you have to have a payment processor you can really trust. I personally am a big fan of Brad Norwood, who's the owner of PrimePaymentsUSA.com. Brad's a business owner himself. He knows all the challenges that come with running a business. More importantly, he knows the value of an individual customer. See, some of these bigger businesses, they're all about scale. They're all about bringing in as many customers as possible. But do they know your name? Do they know your business? Do they know what's important to you? In many cases, the answer is no. And in worst cases, they're just looking to get as much money from every transaction that you work hard for, which really doesn't feel too good. So you got to reach out to Brad Norwood today and understand how he's doing business and why it can save you money month after month. More importantly, you might even ask him about his zero-fee payment processing that he's offering to a select few of people. Go to PrimePaymentsUSA.com and start putting the money that you worked hard for back into your pocket. Zsolt, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
My pleasure.
It's always fun to have a local business owner, an entrepreneur on the podcast. Would you refer to yourself as an entrepreneur, or how do you think of yourself?
I like to think of myself as one, yes.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your businesses. You got a couple businesses.
Yes. So one of them is health and wellness. So I help people basically stay healthy, get rid of pain, certain ailments, have more energy, just overall feeling better. And that business actually has 3 branches or 3 different products / technologies that I utilize and I help people with. And then a completely other business is sailing. So that includes teaching sailing, kids and adults, as well as taking people out on sailing cruises. And that would be like, not like a week-long ocean cruise or anything like that. What can you do around here? It would be just it's a half a day sailing cruise. I'll give you an example so you can imagine it. Let's say a couple or a family of 3-4 gets on the boat with me and we sail out from the marina. We might go to dock at a restaurant on the peninsula, dock there, have a nice meal, get back on the boat, sail some more. Do whatever they want to do. If the kids want to swim, we'll stop and swim or whatever, sail around and then go back. So,
yeah, when I was a kid, I did, it's funny. I do think people think about the sea when they think about sailing, but as a kid, I only ever did sailing in a lake. That's like my only experience.
Yeah.
And we have some beautiful lakes. I mean, Beaver Lake, obviously, but here and also not far in Oklahoma.
Grand Lake.
Yeah.
Yep. I do love sailing there.
Now, this is a newer venture.
Yes, it's fairly new. So, I've been around sailing ever since I was a little kid.
Yeah, okay. And where are you from?
I'm from Hungary.
Okay, cool.
So I was born and raised in Hungary.
Yes. And what's funny about this is I shared something on social media.
Yeah.
It was the grocery store that I think was in Hungary. and you commented, and I thought, because it was not a language I understood, and you commented and said, "Oh, hungry," and I thought, "Oh, that's a really funny connection."
I noticed. Am I seeing this right? There's labels in Hungarian or something right there. So
yeah,
but yeah, I was born and raised there. My dad got me started in sailing when I was very young. I don't even know if I was a boy or girl, but I already knew how to sail, and started doing it competitively. Traveled all over Europe. Competing, and was Hungarian national champion 3 times.
Oh my gosh, man!
So yeah, if I wasn't,
so you're pretty good at.
I took it seriously and did well. Yeah,
this is also a really cool insight, though, because a lot of times when people start businesses, they do it. And this, for our listeners, this is going to sound kind of silly, but it's actually very common that someone starts a business in an area of expertise that they have no experience in. A common example would be like, hey, I'm going to start a restaurant. Okay. Have you ever worked in a restaurant? No. Do you have friends who've worked in restaurants? No. Why a restaurant? I like eating food, and so they don't realize how painful it can be. That's not the case for you. You have actually a very rich history in sailing, not just a rich history, but also it sounds like very deep expertise in it as well. What got you to the point of deciding to start the sailing business?
Great question. I had this little boat that I bought mainly to get my daughters started in it, and they weren't actually that interested at the time. And then I went through a divorce, and up until that point, I haven't really used that boat too much. So after the divorce, it was time to sell the house, and I was like, well, I got to move it. Should I move this boat or sell it? And I just decided to throw up a little post on Facebook Marketplace to see if people want to learn to sail. And I started getting interest in it. So that's how it started. And I started teaching people to sail. It was actually during COVID in 2020. So I had quite a bit of interest in it, actually. People wanted to get out and do something. So that's how it started. And I just took it from there and just been doing it one-on-one. And recently really started looking at it as expanding it and making it more of a business. So just kind of ramping it up a little bit. Being able to take people out on sailing cruises is an addition that I'm looking at doing.
Something else that I think makes sense the way you did it is you already had customers. You already, excuse me. You already had people who had paid you for the service before you decided to roll out the business. And again, this might sound a little obvious to our listeners, but a lot of times they'll want to start a business, but they've never had a customer in that world. And so they don't know what selling to that customer looks like. They don't know what that whole process is. In your case, which I think is the way to actually do it is, you have like your side hustle, you have this little, I don't know if hobby's the right word, but something you make a little extra cash on. And then you start to realize like, wow, I could really grow this out into being something. When's like, is it already officially up and running? I saw like you had the logo put together, I think last month. When's like day one for the business, or has that already happened?
I mean, it's already happening. I'm already taking appointments for sailing lessons and working on setting up sailing cruises. So it's already happening.
How are you liking it?
I love it. It's exciting. It can also get scary at times, as with any. I don't know. Maybe there are people who start a new venture or expand their business and it's not scary for them, but it can be scary. But it's also exciting to see great feedback, to get encouragement, and also just to see people signing up. And also seeing interest from organizations. I guess the scary thing is it's a new thing. Like nobody's doing this around here. So,
are you getting any pushback from people who are like, "Why sailing?"
Some, yes.
How do you mentally deal with? It's the wrong word, but like, how do you process that? I guess
it's just their opinion.
Yeah.
So, and for a long time, I've been messing around with this for 5 years, but just now I feel like it's time to expand and time to just go more serious with it. And this area is just growing so much that there's just no way that I couldn't get enough interest. That's how I feel like. There's no way that I couldn't get enough interest to keep me busy. So
it's an area that people love the outdoors in.
Yeah.
They love their leisure time. It feels like there's a great opportunity. As a random person who doesn't know anything, this is also, I think, the danger of entrepreneurship is you get opinions from people who probably shouldn't share it, And so I'm going to do that and just say, it seems to make sense. Does the business feel different than, this is your second business, does it feel different than the other business, or has your process been kind of the same?
Yeah, it's totally different. Yeah, definitely different. Well, first of all, it's very seasonal. So obviously it's very weather dependent. Like a couple weekends ago, I had to cancel. We had to postpone our class because the weather was bad. Today it's raining too. Even Saturday, I had this cruise schedule. We were able to do it, but we had to cut it short because of the storm coming. So also, if it's 10 degrees outside, you can't sail. So it's very weather dependent. You have to have some wind. Now, if it's beautiful but no wind, again, you can't sail. You could maybe go out and swim, motor out and swim and mess around. But or if the wind is too strong, again, not ideal. So it is weather dependent. You have to keep that in mind.
It seems like, all of us have had the customer that is a little high maintenance. How do you navigate that with like a difficult customer? Or is that something that you're still figuring out? Because I'm thinking about the nightmare customer who's like, oh, we have to postpone again. And it's obvious to you. It's like, well, look outside. There's a tornado outside. Of course we're going to postpone.
Yeah.
But, you have the customer who, and do they pay at the end or do they pay in advance? Or are you still navigating that?
I take a deposit to hold the appointment.
Yeah. Okay.
So just a small deposit. And then that way I have a commitment.
Yeah. I get it.
Because it's,
Well, and it's not getting the boat ready, all that stuff.
Yeah,
it does
take some investment of time to get the boat ready, get the boat, if I pull my boat out to a lake, then that takes preparation and time.
I guess I would think that Facebook Marketplace wouldn't be like the best caliber of customer, but I could be wrong. How have you navigated, or have you had to navigate customers like that? Or are most of your customers pretty like easygoing and you're like, yeah, okay, postpone, I got it?
Most of them, I haven't had any problem customers with sailing really. Maybe because it's kind of really an elective, like a luxury leisure type activity.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Now, what was the other question? I just lost my train of thought. What did you just ask?
Well, I was just thinking about, it's just interesting. It's interesting to process a business where you're so reliant on the weather.
Yeah.
I don't mean it in a bad way. I just think it seems like it'd be a business you have to have a lot of flexibility, and your customers would have to also expect, like, take, for example, the customer where you had to cut it short. Does the customer get like some money back, or is it like, it's kind of the nature? Short maybe like 30 minutes and it's like, whatever. But like, I guess the real question is like, how do you navigate customer expectations to make sure that customers are happy as you're battling things that are out of your control, like the weather?
Yeah. Obviously somewhat we can predict the weather. So the two choices are either to reschedule, or Saturday, we went for it. We had to cut it short, and then we'll make up the next time. So we'll make it up the next time.
Oh, great. Yeah. I guess it makes sense. You'd have repeat business and...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One lesson is usually not enough. I guess if it's a cruise, it
Right.
could be a one cruise.
Yeah, I was thinking of like the leisure time. That's right.
Yeah. That could be a one-time thing. But and to your point, because it is so weather dependent, that's why it's good to have a second business that I can do literally from anywhere, anytime. So the two kind of complement each other well.
Do you find yourself? Do you split your time based on as the business comes in? Like I have a couple of different services that I do, and I find myself whatever I'm working on is typically directly related to whichever one has the customers at that given time. Is that a similar approach for you, or do you have, how do you process all that?
Yeah, it's basically just taking care of demand first. This past weekend, I had for some reason, all of a sudden, 5 inquiries coming all at the same time. I don't know how or why, but obviously, I want to take care of that. So, it just kind of depends on.
It's funny how you say, I don't know how or why. One of my services is internet marketing, like getting people's websites showing up and getting them inquiries like that. And there's definitely been times where we haven't changed anything on our end, and the customer's like, oh man, we're getting all these inquiries. What's going on? And I'm like, candidly, I have no idea. I have no idea why you're getting these inquiries, but it sure is nice.
Oh, and I remember what I was going to say. So you asked about Facebook Marketplace, and that's the only thing I've really been on so far, other than word of mouth. And but now I'm in the process of a guy helping me build a website, and he does Google search words and optimization and all that stuff. I don't know much about that, but he's going to take care of that. So that's going to be another avenue to get some interest.
Now, for thinking about Facebook, and I see you on Facebook, or we're connected on Facebook. What was your process? I remember you shared your logo and asked for feedback for it, and you got a lot of engagement on there.
Yeah.
How did you build your network? Do you go to networking groups or?
Yeah, I do go to networking groups. There are actually a lot of them in Northwest Arkansas that they're just wonderful networking groups. There are many that are free even. So I love going to those, just building connections, sharing my vision and my, just endeavors. And I get interest that way too.
Now, were you ever, were you always an entrepreneur, or did you ever have a corporate job, or?
I've had jobs, yeah.
What was the younger Zsolt? What were you doing back in the day?
So, well, actually, I started my first health and wellness business while I was still in college.
Wow.
So that actually came first.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. And
you're a lifelong entrepreneur.
Yeah, I guess so.
Good for you. That's cool.
Well, I had a lot to learn. Let's put it that way. English wasn't even my first language, and I wasn't outgoing. I wasn't a people person back then, so I had a lot to learn.
Where were you in college?
Right here, University of Arkansas, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy. So when did you come here?
93 is when I started.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So have you seen it change? I've heard this area has night and day.
Oh, yeah. It's changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think Fayetteville at that time had 30,000 population, and now it's pushing 100. So the whole area has changed a lot. For
our listeners who aren't local, we're in Northwest Arkansas, which is where Walmart is headquartered. And I mean, man, I've only lived here since 2012. And even in the last 13 years, I feel like there's certain places where it's that was just a big field. And now it's a bunch of shops and stores and, anyway. But so you started a health and wellness business when you were in college. What did you go to college for?
I started in engineering, actually, computer systems engineering. And unlike most people, I didn't flunk out of engineering, but midway through, I just turned a 180 because I realized it's not ones and zeros and
you just weren't interested in it. I just lost
my interest all of a sudden. I actually took a co-op job in the middle of it, which is like an internship. And that helped me realize that I actually want to work with people and not machines and codes.
Mhm.
So, I just got sick of it. I had to change.
Did you already have the health and wellness business at the time?
Not at that point. No.
Okay. So you started that later in college?
Yeah.
And as you started that, health and wellness, is this at the time, was it fitness? Was it more nutrition?
That was nutrition.
Nutrition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were probably working with people directly, I would assume.
Yes, it was a home-based business.
Pre-internet days, huh?
Yes. Actually, early 2000s is when the internet, we kind of capitalized on building it on the internet, yeah.
What was it like to run a business without... I'm such a millennial, man. I'm like, what did you do?
Flyers, flyers, signs, hammering up signs. It was some interesting times.
So starting the sailing business, I mean, you getting your first customers on Facebook Market, this is these are different worlds in terms of how you did it in, 93 or 94. How do you like the process? Process isn't the right word, but just like the internet in terms of using Facebook to grow momentum. Like, is it easier than how it was back in the day of like flyers and having to like get the word out? Like, do you like the access you have now compared? Is it easier to start the business really than it was back then?
I think it is. Yes or no. It's easier because you have access to, just the vast majority of people on the internet, on Facebook, for example, and it's also free. You can obviously do paid ads, but a lot of things that you can do for free, and that definitely makes it easier to start a business. Free is always better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's harder to, well, for me, when it comes to sailing, it's easier to stick out because nobody's doing it around here. Nobody's teaching sailing or taking people out on sailing cruises. But for a regular business, it might be harder to stand out in all the noise and all the ads and all the things that are online.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point in that you're probably one of the only people that I've talked to who says, I'm the only one doing, and it actually be true, in that I hear that a lot where someone says, oh, I'm the only one doing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, you're not. There's plenty of other people doing it. You are unique in that it is a fairly small niche, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, I think it does make it a little bit easier to stand out. What's like your long-term plan for the business?
So long-term plan, I envision teaching kids and getting to a point where I can have kids summer camps. And that's really a dream of mine.
You really want to wrangle a bunch of kids on a sailboat?
I do. Well, no, have them on individual sailboats.
Oh, yeah.
So
that was my experience when I was a kid sailing. It was a kids sailing class.
Okay.
I sunk my sailboat though.
You sunk?
Yeah. Because it was a really windy day and we were all set up on like really small sailboats. And I got going. I got a handle of it and it was really fun. And I started going so fast that the front of the boat tipped down into the water and I didn't know what to do. And the water just rushed. It was such a small sailboat too.
Yeah.
About the size of this table, really.
How old were you?
I was, maybe 12.
Okay.
Maybe 13.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I was probably, I think if I remember correctly, the person running the activity was also like a high school student or maybe like a young college student who probably should have realized, I don't know if I want to let, 10 or 15 kids on their own individual, which I think at the time we only actually had like 3 or 4 different sailboats, but yeah, very fun. And then I think they had to get rid of the activity at camp because I sunk the sailboat and it didn't make sense, I don't think.
But yeah, that's actually my long-term goal. Nobody's even thinking about doing that around here. And I think it's just a tremendous benefit for kids to be able to do something.
Get some outdoors.
Sorry?
It gets them outdoors.
Exactly. Get them out of the house, away from the screens,
Off
the
the
TVs,
phone.
the Nintendos, the phones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and doing something. And I envision doing a week or 2 or 3 week long summer camp for kids where it would be all inclusive. Obviously, you'd have to have some kind of a lakefront property, whether it's owned by the school or leased, but either way, where I can give them room and board and have an all inclusive summer camp. That's my dream.
I love that idea. Yeah. No, I like I said, as a kid, I love doing it. Are your kids entrepreneurial?
We're yet to see. Somewhat, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would they ever be willing to help out with the big vision for the sailing school?
I've been trying to
loop them in.
Yeah, they're not very excited about it so far. We'll see. Maybe
who knows?
Maybe once.
There's a lot of, and there's a lot of stories of, the college age kid who grows up a little bit and decides they want to get more involved, and then plenty of examples where they don't touch it at all. But
yeah, maybe they'll come around.
Yeah. Well, Zsolt, it was so good having you on the podcast today. Thank you for making the time to join me.
Thank you for having me.
For somebody who wants to find out more about either of your businesses or they want to connect with you directly, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can contact me at 479-313-0306. My website is being built. It's SAIL.AROK.com. So that's SAIL. AROK stands for Arkansas, Oklahoma, AROK.com. It's not up yet, but it hopefully will be within 2-3 weeks.
By the time this episode airs, check out SAILAROK.com because it will likely be up by then.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, for our listeners, if you're just now listening to the podcast for the first time, what the heck you waiting on? Click that subscribe or follow button so you can keep getting good advice wherever you are. Don't forget, you can always support our podcast on our Patreon, patreon.com/goodadvice. Appreciate all of our supporters and advertisers on the show. That's today's good advice. We'll catch you later. See ya.